All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking some truly wild claims from Chapter 5 of The True Heart of Lamu. We are exploring a pretty dramatic assertion here. The idea that the legendary ancient civilization of Mu was actually powered by extraterrestrial technology. Whether you're deeply familiar with esoteric history or totally new to this specific lore, the sheer scale of these claims is absolutely captivating. So let's see what the material actually says.
We kick things off with a massive paradigm shift directly from the text. The author explicitly challenges the standard textbook narrative that ancient humans were just primitive cavemen wrapped up in animal pelts. In fact, the argument here is the exact opposite. According to this lore, humanity has actually regressed from a much higher point of civilization. The idea is that just because we swapped out animal skins for woven cloth over millennia doesn't actually mean we're more advanced than the people of Mu.
This brilliantly illustrates the core conflict we're dealing with. On one hand, you have the orthodox view. Ancient populations as primitive hunter-gatherers, slowly figuring out fire and chipping away at basic stone tools. But on the flip side, we are asked to visualize Mu as a highly advanced, dynamic, completely tech-driven civilization. To really understand their world, the material demands we completely discard our preconceived notions of the ancient past.
Section 1. Unexpected Agriculture and Food.
Now, to understand a civilization, you have to look at how they eat, and the scale of agricultural engineering described here is massive. We're told the people of Mu weren't just out foraging, they had highly developed rice farming and large-scale taro root cultivation. And they didn't just grow it, they processed this taro, powdering and baking it to create long-lasting preserved foods. Plus, and this is huge for a thriving society, they had the chemical know-how to distill these crops into alcohol. It paints a picture of a society with total, practical mastery over its food supply.
Section 2. Airships and Airborne Screens.
Building off that grounded agricultural reality, the lore takes a massive leap straight into the sky. The text introduces us to these enormous, whale-shaped flying ships navigating the ancient horizons, hovering right over sprawling, technologically advanced cities. It just completely shatters that traditional caveman narrative we were talking about earlier.
And what's fascinating is how they allegedly flew. The principles outlined in the text are surprisingly specific. Step 1 involves synthetically generating a gas that is lighter than air. Step 2, they use this gas for buoyancy, but they combine it with the alcohol they distilled from their advanced agriculture, using that as a combustible fuel. And Step 3, utilizing this whole system to conduct intercontinental travel. They were literally flying effortlessly across the globe to other land masses.
And with the skies conquered for travel, they apparently use them to just kick back and relax, too. The lore introduces this wild concept of airborne movies. So instead of sitting inside a dark theater building like we do today, they supposedly utilized a technology that projected massive, holographic-style screens directly into the night sky, specifically out over the coastlines. I mean, imagine standing on an ancient beach, looking up and watching an enormous movie projection just hovering right there in the clouds.
Okay, so hearing about intercontinental airships and massive holographic sky screens naturally begs a burning question. How could a civilization supposedly existing tens of thousands of years ago possess such futuristic capabilities? How did they just skip the Industrial Revolution and go straight to airborne projections?
Section 3. Alien Technology Exchange.
According to the text, the answer is a deep, profound exchange with extraterrestrials. And this wasn't just them observing ships from afar, it was hands-on, everyday integration. Aliens allegedly arrived in massive motherships and then detached smaller flying saucers that the people of Mu used just like we use private cars or taxis today. Except, these were zipping around at supersonic Mach speeds. Talk about beating ancient traffic.
The sheer breadth of this claimed alien influence is absolutely staggering. Aside from supersonic transport, the lore dives into biology with this wild claim that giant, genetically altered King Kong-like gorillas were deployed in ancient wars. They essentially use them the way a modern army uses a tank. And culturally, they assert that the very roots of human language came directly from the stars. It's an entire societal overhaul based on alien contact.
To give you a really specific example of that cultural influence, the text claims certain kanji characters originated directly from this alien contact. Take the symbol for king. It's a vertical line crossing 3 horizontal lines. The author argues this exact symbol was derived straight from the identification markings painted on the underbellies of the alien discs that were hovering above the people of Mu.
Section 4. The Lesson of Mu.
So, as we wrap up our look at this extraordinary text, we have to look at the broader philosophical takeaway the author is presenting. If a civilization backed by extraterrestrial technology, fully capable of supersonic flight, genetic manipulation, and boundless agricultural abundance could just completely vanish from the face of the Earth, well, what warnings might that hold for our own modern world? If they could fall, despite all their incredible advancements, just how secure is the civilization we've built today? It's definitely a provocative question that the material leaves us to ponder. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the history you've been taught.